What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark, MikeTheMovieGuy.com if you're a blind film critic, and we're checking back in on the Best Picture race. This is Talking Oscars. So, I earliered my Best Picture nominations. Click like and subscribe because I English well. And join me on my cult following here where I do blind film criticisms and stumble through Oscar predictions and see what other people are doing, and I kind of dissect it and break it down. I can see the trends. I can see what we're doing and why we're trying to do it. So yeah, we're gonna talk about the Best Picture race. So we're like halfway through the year. We saw some films at Cannes. We've had some films open. We've kind of had a reality check on a couple of movies that we thought, well, maybe for Best Picture, ? And it kind of looks like probably not going to be the Best Picture. You can also kind of look at the studios and see maybe that The Life of Chuck, which was released by Neon, is not going to be Neon's priority for Best Picture this year when they have so many other options, including the Palme d'Or winner and the runner-up. Like, they have the top two films coming out of Cannes. I don't think they need The Life of Chuck, which they decided to bury in June. So, gonna go ahead and say that's not happening. But there are some other films that people want to talk about. And at the top of my list is actually going to be Sentimental Value. I actually, while thinking about this film and thinking about the fact that it's an opportunity to recognize a director who's international, it's an opportunity to recognize an actress who traditionally does a lot of international work. Renata is the lead of this film, and previously she got a lot of attention for Worst Person in the World, and I think likely that's going to happen for her this year. She's finally going to get a Best Actress nomination. The praise for this film is really solid. Everybody notices that it's Oscar bait. Feels like it, and it has three people who easily all are on the cusp of, yeah, they deserve to become first-time nominees. So it sort of is the perfect package of a film. It's picture, director, actress, supporting actress, likely screenplay. And it's the kind of thing where it could start sliding into categories like editing, score. It doesn't feel like the kind of film that necessarily would sweep, but it also could end up with like 8 Oscar nominations simply because they like the film. So Sentimental Value is actually my number one. I know for other people, they're still gaga over a certain film, but we're going to get to it eventually. Don't you worry your pretty face. Sentimental Value, number one. Number two on the list, trying to figure out who gets the next spot. I think we do have to talk about the elephant in the room, whose name is Sinners. Ryan Coogler's Sinners. Yes, it made a ton of money at the box office. Yes, it's an original work, and it has potential in several categories. It is also an early in the year release. That's not necessarily a deal breaker, but it has been for films in the past that can't maintain not everything is everything everywhere all at once, where it feels like people attach themselves to that movie and then nothing else is able to beat it. Previously, like last year, we had Dune Part 2, which opened in March, to rapturous praise, only to really come up short when you consider the amount of nominations that it got versus the first film. So it wasn't quite as well received at the end by the Oscars as people probably thought it was going to be in the first half of the year. So Dune Part 2 serves sort of as a little warning shot to Sinners. Also, the fact that last year Challengers managed no nominations, I think, is a big thing. Also, Air managed no nominations the year that it was out. So sometimes there are these films that get the critical praise, they get the notice, and then people just kind of forget about them. You know, even with performances, uh, or films that you have the entire film Twitterism talking about how great they are, like Past Lives. Past Lives was just a picture and screenplay is what it got down to. So where could Sinners end up? Sinners could end up not getting a picture nomination. It could end up getting just a bunch of tech categories. It could end up getting a Ryan Coogler nomination for director, but not a picture nomination. It could end up getting Michael B. Jordan or Delroy Lindo nominations. It could have a really weird package as it gets chipped away as the year goes on. It has a lot to hold on to. For right now, though, it does feel kind of crazy to not give it a spot. My problem is that there is another sort of horror leaning movie this year that I think also has an excellent chance. It's also from an auteur, and that movie is Frankenstein. I think Guillermo del Toro doing Frankenstein feels like the most logical thing you could possibly do is to let Guillermo del Toro do Frankenstein. So I'm actually predicting Frankenstein for Best Picture because I think even though that story has been told before, this is a man who did get Nightmare Alley into Best Picture, which was a story that had also been told before. He works best in this genre. He gets Nightmare Alley, he gets Shape of Water. I think if we had had more nominees, the year of Pan's Labyrinth, I think that would have been in the top 10. So he is perfectly capable of getting that praise. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio was really critically well received. So he is also somebody who, for anybody who ever pays attention to what Del Toro does, he goes around the industry and constantly praises other people. He's very warm and receptive. He leads all these conversations about other filmmakers and other films. And he's somebody he's a nerd about cinema. So he's the kind of person that I think everybody roots for anyway. He seems to be a director that people want to work with. And he's got two actors in this film who both are sort of on the come up. They're both, it feels like Oscar Isaac is overdue for a nomination. And he's the lead of the film here, playing Dr. Frankenstein. And honestly, Jacob Elordi in supporting actor playing the monster, we don't know what his take is going to be on that. It could be something that Elordi could end up getting in the supporting actor race for. It would be kind of weird, but also it feels like Jacob Elordi is, because he's one of those it actors of the moment, sort of like Timothée Chalamet, Austin Butler. He feels like one of these people. He's one of the rumored people to be in the mix for James Bond. It feels like they could be, he could slot himself. I wouldn't be terribly surprised. So, and it wouldn't be his first sort of awards baity type performance either. This is from Netflix, so I don't think it can win. But can we have two horror-leaning films in the top 10? That's what concerns me about Sinners, is that I believe in the strength of Frankenstein, and I believe that Frankenstein coming at the end of the year could be Sinners' biggest competition, should it end up being good. So I'm going to lean in on Frankenstein. So number 4, I'm going to lean in with Begonia, which is... just had a trailer drop and everybody went nuts for it. It's Yorgos Lanthimos' newest film. I'm a little spotty on this one because I don't fully believe in its package. It's got Emma Stone, which is a problem for me because she just won her second Best Actress trophy. And while she could go on to collect needless amounts of nominations, she will not win this year. I don't care how good her performance is. She's not winning a third Oscar at her age. She's just not. It's not going to happen. She could cut her own face off on camera. Like, it's not happening. It's just, I would give her a 0% chance of winning Best Actress this year. So it's going to require somebody else to be an extraordinary performance coming out of this film in order for that to happen. Alicia Silverstone? Maybe. Intriguing. Um, but we also have Jesse Plemons, previously nominated. Maybe he could be something here, but I don't like to bet against Yorgos. It used to be that he makes films that are a little too weird, but the fact that everybody got behind Poor Things, which was arguably a film that was weird, kind of suggested this new academy that we've embraced is ready for the weird. They're ready for films like The Substance. They're ready for films that Yorgos can go a little bit off kilter with. They're ready for that. They don't need him to play a little bit more quirky, but still a little bit like The Favorite. You know, they need him. They're perfectly fine with him doing whatever. So I'm going to bet on Yorgos, and I'm going to bet on Begonia. For the fifth place spot, you gotta have an A24 movie in here somewhere, because they're definitely, they make Neon and A24 are just gunning for like the entire Oscar race at this point. Some year coming up, it's just going to be like 5 Neon films and 5 A24 movies, as other studios struggle to make things that are like financially A24 is just like, I don't know, we don't care. Our movies still make a lot of money, so whatever. Marty Supreme feels like their biggest contender. They're giving it the spot that they gave The Brutalist, which worked out well for The Brutalist. So, it's a safety movie. It's got Chalamet. It could return Gwyneth Paltrow to the Oscars for the first time since she won. So there's always been this conversation about, is Gwyneth Paltrow actually a good actress? Is she actually a serious actress? Did she deserve that Oscar? All those kind of conversations. It's possible that Paltrow could really come in and answer that question this year. I think she's going to. So I'm going to go with Marty Supreme this year and say that one of the Safdie brothers is going to get a nomination. I don't think Smashing Machine is going to get in. I think if anything happens for Smashing Machine, it's going to be Dwayne Johnson. I don't even think Emily Blunt can follow Dwayne Johnson. I think it's just, will Hollywood get behind Dwayne Johnson? Is it transformative enough? Will people, sort of like Adam Sandler with Jay Kelly, like these films, those actors don't need their films in the picture race. They just need to feel like it's like, I think Pamela Anderson got really close for The Last Showgirl without her film ever being a Best Picture contender. So if Dwayne can start picking up notice, sure. But I don't think the Safdie brothers are going to double up and both get nominations for their films this year. So for my 6th place spot, I'm going to go with, yeah, it's probably going to happen. We have some sequels this year, and I don't want to lead on both of them. So I'll let you figure out which one I think is going to happen. So for my 6th place spot, I'm either going to give it to Wicked for Good or Avatar 3. I don't think they're both going to happen. We have some excellent films this year. We have a lot of auteurs who are doing films. The fact that we're not even giving Darren Aronofsky's film sort of like the time of day just goes to show the strength of the films that we do have this year. Because normally, at least when Darren Aronofsky directs a film, we go, oh, look, he made a film. You know, we just kind of stop and give it notice, but they're not even bothering. So, between the 3rd Avatar movie and the 2nd Wicked movie, which one do I think is going to make it? The problem is that Avatar 3 is not the final Avatar. This dude's making 5 of these. And at some point, the Oscar voters are going to go, are we going to nominate all 5 of them for Best Picture? Are these actually good movies? And there was sort of that debate with Avatar 2, The Way of Water, which didn't get as many nominations as the first Avatar, wasn't quite as dominant. So the 3rd film, unless he's made some sort of, you know, magnum opus that is somehow better than every film he's ever directed, I think I'm giving the spot to Wicked for Good, because it's a part one and a part two. There's no Wicked 3. God, I hope not. I hope they don't write a Wicked 3. That would be terrible. Please, the film has a clear ending. The musical ends. We don't need to extend the story. So, it is the second act of the musical, and I know people are hesitant because it doesn't have Defying Gravity in it. And like, they're like, well, that's a big song. And it's like, Wicked fans know there are a lot of bangers in the second half of Wicked, plus it's where they're writing the original songs. So if the original songs are as good as the rest of the music, then sure, but I haven't really heard memorable music written for musicals that were pre-existing since Dreamgirls. Let's be honest, Listen and Patience were both really good, and in case you haven't noticed, they both worked their way into the show now. So if you happen to see a production of Dreamgirls, Listen and Patience are part of the show now. So, but you can't say the same about Hugh Jackman's solo from Les Mis that they wrote, or how about Nevermore from Beauty and the Beast, which they just swapped out If I Can't Love Her, which was in the Broadway show. Yeah, we're not batting 100. The new songs for Dear Evan Hansen were not very good. So there is some trepidation, and I understand it. But as far as Best Picture goes, I think it's an easier choice to slot it still in picture. The bigger question is, can both actresses still get in? Can any of the actresses still get in? What's going to happen with Cynthia and Ariana? And those are the tougher conversations to have. But I think it's easier to predict Wicked in this race. So moving on, I want to make sure I keep the Bruce Springsteen biopic in there. I do think I had it last time before it blew up, before everybody saw the trailer. I looked at the Springsteen biopic and I was like, yeah, this feels like the kind of thing that we're going to. So Deliver Me from Nowhere, which is, I guess, now called Springsteen Deliver Me from Nowhere, is, sure, Scott Cooper, but that just means that you have a Best Picture nominee that you don't have to worry too much about getting into the director category. I don't think Scott Cooper is going to. I think this is going to rise on the fact that Springsteen is still very much sort of the moment, and Jeremy Allen White is one of the hottest actors we have, and I don't mean like, oh my god, isn't he cute? I mean like hot in the terms of what Hollywood is giving him in terms of roles. So I think they want to give him this award. He keeps getting nominated for The Bear, even when they don't write him. Like, he gets nominated just because. The show's not even a comedy. His role is not funny, but he keeps getting like nominated for Best Actor in a comedy. And sometimes the seasons don't even lean in his favor. They lean in Ayo Edebiri's favor, or they lean in Evan Moss-Baccarat's favor. Like the episodes, he gets entire seasons where his character feels like, was he the most interesting thing? No, he still gets the actor nomination. So even in competitive tight races where he's not really even in the right category, dude still gets nominated and wins. So I think Jeremy Allen White is in the Best Actor race this year. Now, will anybody else from the film be in the race? That's the question, is can this film pull a complete unknown and bring along a supporting actor, supporting actress? We'll see. But I think Jeremy Allen White is putting this film on the map. So I still have Deliver Me from Nowhere. Number 8. I believe we're at number 8. I'm actually giving Netflix a second spot. I'm doing it. I really want to do it with the Edward Berger movie. I really want to do it with that because I don't want to count him out. He's been super consistent. His last 2 films were Best Picture nominees. But then again, his last 2 films were Best Picture nominees, and no one has that big of a consistency rating. So the fact that Netflix has some other heavy hitters coming in, like Del Toro, and also Jay Kelly, which is directed by Noah Baumbach, maybe that's the reason to say Edward Berger won't be the nominee this year for his film. I don't know. I hate counting on Edward Berger. I've loved his last two movies. So, but there's something about the package of Jay Kelly that looks really good. Looks like Noah Baumbach is returning to form with Marriage Story-ish vibes. And he could easily get 3 acting nominations out of this too. Not only could Noah Baumbach possibly break into the director category, but this looks like a strong contender for actor, supporting actor, and supporting actress with Clooney, Adam Sandler, and Laura Dern. Like, that seems totally logical. So the question is just, is the film good? The early buzz is that it is, but of course, pretty much all early buzz. If you don't have early buzz coming out of like whatever little test screenings you have, it's problematic because people like going to test screenings. Industry insiders tend to overclock movies. So we a lot of times end up hearing that films are like they test like they're like the highest testing film ever. To prove a point, we had that kind of buzz with Ron Howard's 13 Lives, the movie about the cave divers. Supposedly tested really well and was going to be this critical success, and just went nowhere. I mean, like, it's on Amazon, like you can watch it, but it really didn't do anything for anybody. So, yeah, I think probably Jay Kelly is hopefully going to buck that trend and not be that film, and not be the film that does. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going with that. Number 9, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by Fox Searchlight. I'm intrigued. They have me piqued. They have my interest piqued because, as some have pointed out, there are some films that are in play that haven't picked up distribution, like the whatever of Uzziah King. And Searchlight seems to be riding on Rental Family. So what is it that they don't know? What is it that they know about Rental Family that we don't know about Rental Family? Because they don't really have another contender. So unless there's something else that's about to pop up at a film festival they swoop in and buy, maybe they just felt uncomfortable about the Matthew McConaughey film. I'm intrigued that Fox Searchlight, which has been typically a pretty strong contender for Oscars before, I wonder why they like Rental Family so much. I kind of want to take a swing and predict Rental Family because I have sort of everybody else represented here. I have like Focus, I have A24, Neon, Warner Brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have the other studios, Universal. I have, it's kind of spread out. Netflix is here. I don't have Apple, but I don't think F1's going to get a nomination. I have another film this year, the bus trip that, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Probably not, but maybe. I don't think F1's going to Top Gun Maverick its way in. It didn't quite become that big of a phenomenon like Top Gun Maverick did. So Apple may be once again without a Best Picture nominee. I think I'm going to go with Rental Family. Brendan Fraser's sort of possible Oscar bid follow-up to The Whale. It's an interesting premise. It feels like it could be maybe like a feel-good-ish movie. Searchlight really doesn't have anything, and Searchlight always has something. Searchlight is always gunning for Oscar glory, and they don't have much else. So if this is their big title, sure, I'll roll the dice on Rental Family right now. And then for my 10th spot, I have a bunch of films that I could choose from, including the Cannes winner. I'm a little hesitant to choose an Iranian director right now, just because I don't know how that whole thing is going to work out. So I'm aware. I know what that film is. But also last year we started out again where it looked like we had a really strong Iranian film that was going to do well at the Oscars, and then it ended up getting sort of trounced by other, international features. So I think, I mean, it did get a international feature nomination, but it didn't win. So I don't know what international film is going to come in this year. I'm really hesitant to put in After the Hunt, even though I think it's going to get acting nominations. It feels like if it got all three, it would have to get in Best Picture. But can it get all three? It's got a package for Julia Roberts, Andrew Garfield, and Ayo Edebiri. And I think that's a strong package. I think those three actors could all get in. And I think After the Hunt is really close to a top 10 spot for me. And it's right there. Like I want to pick it. But it doesn't really matter what my 10th spot is because I think it's going to go international. And the films that I've seen that people are talking about, I don't think that they're the film. I don't think we've seen the film yet. And I think the film is going to end up popping at a film festival. So in the meantime, I will hang my shingle on One Battle After Another because it's Paul Thomas Anderson and he has such a history with the Oscars. It is DiCaprio. It has a supporting cast that's interesting, but doesn't necessarily scream Oscar to me. It has supporting actresses like Regina Hall and Tiana Taylor, who don't have Oscar nominations to their names yet, but they could get them. No reason why they couldn't. Sean Penn could make a comeback at the Oscars. Supposedly he's really good in this. This is one of those films, though, that there's been a little bit of a buzz about maybe it's not the best film of the year. And maybe that's why it's being dumped where it's being dumped, which is sort of not quite an Oscar season. It's like getting this like late summer debut, which is an odd choice for a Best Picture frontrunner. I think it's being put out to die, but why is going to be the question. Sort of like, why are people ignoring Darren Aronofsky's movie this year? So, but there's something to be said about the last couple films. It's like Luca Guadagnino, we keep going, oh my God, he's going to get nominated for a nope. Oh, well, this is nope. Well, how about this nope? And it's not that his films don't get nominations. His last three movies, Queer, Challengers, and Bones and all got nominations at places. They just ended up getting no nominations at the Oscars, though. Like, no nominations, which is amazing because Challengers specifically felt like an editing play. Like, so do they just not like Luca Guadagnino at the Oscars? So it's very trepidatious. I want to put After the Hunt as my 10th film, but I'm also wondering what the hell's the problem with Oscar voters and Luca Guadagnino movies, because it does kind of feel like it's personal or something. Like he's done something to offend them. There's also a Spike Lee movie, Highest to Lowest, which didn't get like amazing reviews out of Cannes, but it's also Spike Lee. And Denzel has been flirting with the idea of retirement. So it could just be a play for Denzel Washington now. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a play for Best Picture. Ella McKay could be a return to form for James L. Brooks. I don't think anybody's seen that movie yet. So there are still some other films this year, but for my last spot, I'm giving it to One Battle After Another. Join me next time when I debate whatever. Yeah, there are a bunch of other films. Die My Love, Mother Mary. God, there's just there's a shit ton of movies coming out this year that people could talk about. Is This Mic On? I could just ramble off movies that haven't come out yet. Pressure. I don't know. Any of those films could suddenly just start getting Oscar buzz. But those are the 10 that I'm going with right now. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I'll see you guys on the other side.